The atmosphere at Belmont Village is vibrant. We're a community built for life. We thrive and promote independence, engagement, social activity. It's an environment where we want our residents to have fun. And the beauty of it really is it allows our residents to age in place. They don't need to move. This is home.
When you belong to a community, it makes you feel safe. It inspires you to thrive. It honors your achievements, and it makes you feel at home. For nearly 20 years, Belmont Village Senior Living has created communities that have enriched the lives of seniors and their families, providing places where seniors lead healthy, purposeful lives under the care of staff who truly understand their needs. Belmont Village offers assisted living, independent living, and memory care in a continuum that supports residents when care needs change and providing for couples of varying care needs.
It's nice that we can be together. She needs a little bit more care than I do, and I don't have to do any cooking or shopping.
Aging is a gift. We invite you to embrace it with us and be a part of our community and our family. Belmont Village Senior Living, the community built for life.
Thank you for joining us today. Now that the holidays are in full force with the stores packed, the TV commercials are already on, we wanted to bring on some experts today who are going to help us understand how to make your dining experience over the holidays with your guests and family and friends as cordial and convenient for everyone. So today we have Sadie Harness and Lori Kim from the Belmont Village Senior Living. Sadie's from the Cardiff location and Kim is from the Sabre Springs location. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. So we'll start with you, Sadie. We want to start out. We have this beautiful table here, and it's Thanksgiving evening, and the guests have arrived. And it's not a matter of just serving the right food at the table. It's all about making the setting appropriate. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think that how you serve the food and how you set your table is just as important as what you're serving to meet your seniors' needs. And to exceed their expectations, we just need to take into account if somebody has physical disabilities or maybe some cognitive disabilities, but we want to take nothing for granted.
Can you expand on that a little bit more? What are you referring to?
For example, if you have my own father has Parkinson's, and my father likes to pretend that he doesn't have any disabilities at all, but I happen to know that setting the table in a certain way and pre-plating the food actually is really important so that he doesn't have eyes that are too small or too big, for example. He's in a great state of denial, as many of our seniors are, about their disabilities, and the presentation of the food and how you set up the buffet line is just as important as what you're serving, your special dishes.
So today you've brought this beautiful festive table, and give us some ideas about how to help our seniors navigate through the holidays with, there's tons of different servings that are provided. Do you need to cut things a certain way? Do you need to have things in a certain place so that it's easier for them to reach? Help us understand some of the small nuances that are so important but are very, very hard for people to sometimes even think about doing.
Largely overlooked, yes. Do you want to start?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that you can see here is we've got some contrasting colors. I mean, we are in the holiday season, as you mentioned, or somebody did, or maybe I'm just thinking, it's here so fast. We've got holiday stuff in the stores. Here we are in the holiday season. There's beautiful colors. Not only is it lovely, but it does make a difference as far as our seniors being able to distinguish between a tablecloth, a plate, a mug. We've got residents or our seniors, our loved ones who their vision is changing, glaucoma, macular degeneration. There might be some cognitive decline that is impacting just the way they're able to picture things. So if you have a white tablecloth with a white plate, with a white bowl, with a white cup, it's very difficult for someone to distinguish. So, just taking advantage again of the festive colors. It can be difficult if there's a whole lot of patterning for somebody, particularly if you're talking with someone with dementia. However, if you can keep in mind the contrast between a tablecloth, a dish, a cup, that's going to make a difference.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to mention too that the actual cups that we use, so the mugs that we use typically have some ridges on the edge, and we want to have a mug that's large enough for a senior who has some dexterity issues to be able to grip that mug and feel confident about it. And at Belmont Village, we really don't use saucers because sometimes clinking, when you drop your mug onto a saucer, can be a little overstimulating, and it can also be a little embarrassing if somebody has some tremors or if they have a weak hand and the hot coffee makes them drop it faster. It's less noticed when you're on a regular table. Same thing with the plate size. We don't want to have a plate that's too large. We'd like a medium to a smaller size plate. And if you pre-plate your food, you're in a good position not to embarrass your senior because they don't want to waste the food. It's very important that they can finish what they have on their plate. And you want to have a plate large enough to have a little bit of everything that's available to them without overwhelming them.
And I just want to add the big picture of all this and what we're trying to convey to the families that are watching this is to be aware of these things when you all gather around the table today. We know either the senior, like your father's in denial, but more likely the children are in denial. And if you can maybe set the table in this fashion, you can maybe you're almost like one that's set properly and one that's not set properly, and see how one gravitates towards one works with the other. So very important.
Traditional china, when at the holidays, we like to bring out our best china. It's really not friendly for seniors. Everything about it. It's flimsy, it's extra large, tiny little cups, there's saucers, there's too many utensils, and it all matches. Something that might be better would be the contrasting colors, the heavier stemware, a glass that has textured sides that somebody who maybe has some poor feeling in their fingers or neuropathy can grab that and feel confident that it's not going to drop.
So if you see that the senior's not eating properly, that might be a sign that the table is not set properly.
Well, and portion size is important too. Sorry, go ahead, Lori.
Yeah, no, and I was just thinking as Sadie was speaking about the glassware, again, it's less easy to topple over. Stemware is lovely at the holidays, and I know, like you said, Sadie, we like to pull out our best china and our wonderful, beautiful wine glasses, but typically they're a little bit lighter in weight, and the stems are longer. It's easy to tip over, and again, that can be embarrassing and just hard to manage. Even our flatware, certainly not suggesting people buy special flatware. However, just having substantial, something of a weight, something that handle is easy to pick up and to hold on to. I know a lot of us during the holidays, we have a lot of people over, and so we might actually be using plasticware. If you did decide to do that, and certainly not suggesting you don't, but if you're able to purchase some of the heavier, nicer flatware, some of the smaller type that are, the handles are small, they're flimsy, they break easily, that kind of thing can be, again, it's dexterity and the possibility of breaking and having some of that go into somebody's food.
Also, what I noticed with my own parents is you mentioned serving size, and having things in a size where they may not need to cut a lot, or if they need to cut, have a knife that really does cut, so that they're not embarrassed by trying to fight with their food.
Yes.
So
one of the new traditions out there today is actually pre-plating the food too, which is kind of nice. So again, in my family, we had the big buffet table, or we had a big family style table where everybody was expected to reach over and start plopping food onto each other's plates, but that's embarrassing for a senior. One, if they can't get up to a buffet line because they have, balance issues, or they may not want you to serve them because they do need help cutting. So if you call home in advance and you find out what grandma or mom needs, as far as if she has dietary restrictions, or if your father has alcohol restrictions, for example, we want to know that in advance of the meal so that we can present to everybody at the same time. The host can take the opportunity to pre-plate the food for all the guests so as not to call attention to anybody who can't navigate the buffet line. It seems to work well. And then you can always double back for your seconds, which is me, seconds and thirds, and you can have as much as you want in a buffet line without drawing attention to your senior who may have trouble in that buffet line.
Yeah, absolutely.
the other thing is timing of the day to eat. So a lot of families have had the tradition of, well, we always eat at 2 or we always eat at 4. But you have to understand that when you have seniors who are coming to dinner, that based on their medication needs, that timing might need to change. It might have an effect on their appetite. It might have an effect on how much they want to eat. It may have an effect on their mood, because some people are sundowners and sometimes a little earlier in the day is better, and others don't have good beginnings to the day and the later in the day is a little bit better. So what do you suggest when it comes to that? Again, being proactive.
If you're going to be a proactive host, we'd suggest calling home. Calling the person who's if it's a parent or a grandparent, you want to ask the person who's responsible for them, if it's not them, their caregiver or their spouse, if they do have medication interactions, what are those and what can you do to mitigate that? Which might mean having really heavy appetizers available before we have medicine. It might mean kind of scheduling that meal, if it's an hour window, around the medicine. You know, most of us are pretty flexible on the holidays and we want to gather with everybody at the same time, but it's important to ask the questions in advance so that we have the information we need to present the best possible dinner for our families.
And how would you work around, so my dad had multiple strokes.
Work around the football game.
Yeah.
That's right, the Packers.
My dad had,
We can see where you're going. Okay.
my dad had multiple strokes, but was always a wine drinker.
Yes.
Okay. And we'd sit down to eat, and we'd pour him a glass when we poured everyone else's, and then he'd be like, my glass is empty, and we'd be like, that's okay, so is mine. What do you suggest to maybe try and get around that? Because you obviously don't want to pour them later than everybody else. You want to make them feel like they're included, but how do you get them to hold back from the second or the third glass, which they really can't have based on their medication?
Yeah, and you know what, something that is a simple thing to do is something like a wine spritzer. I mean, you can have a little less wine in it, and then you've got something else added to it so that the alcohol in one glass isn't quite as much as if you just did a full glass of wine. Then you're, running the opportunity to cause, disagreement with your loved one at a family get together, and you certainly don't want. I think we all agree and we understand, these are people that we treasure. We treat them with dignity. We don't want to be standing in front of them cutting their food up on their plate like they're a child. We don't want to be telling our 85-year-old dad, you cannot have another glass of wine type of thing. It just creates that opportunity for conflict at a family get-together. And so a suggestion like that, and I mean, everybody can have wine spritzers, but maybe just kind of doing something like that.
That's a good idea.
If you have somebody that really has alcohol issues and can't have any alcohol, they do make non-alcoholic wine these days.
Yes.
And if you're the host, you can go back and very quietly from the beginning start with that non-alcoholic so it doesn't taste different and it looks no different. We get great feedback at Belmont Village about our non-alcoholic wine because we have many residents that are unable to drink wine because it interacts with medication.
Absolutely.
Or you start dinner at 4 and 5 glasses in and it's unsafe for anybody.
Yeah.
Tell us about the traditions at Belmont. Leading right into that. What traditions do you have at Cardiff by the Sea? And again, Cardiff by the Sea, if you don't know where that is, it's an amazing spot right on the coast, and it's a beautiful community, and go visit. But what traditions, holiday traditions do you have? So
at Belmont, we try and accommodate families and our dinner at the same time. So we offer a buffet, which we serve to our residents. So it's a buffet line for our families, but then we do plated meals for all of our seniors who are there. And we do that from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So it's a midday meal so that most of our residents then return home in the evening to have either a second meal or a dessert or family time so that they're not missing out on anything. We invite our families, of course, to our meal as well, but most of our residents have two big activities for the day. The meal at Belmont, and then they get to go home with their loved ones.
Yeah.
I'll just, before Lori, finish up, I just would ask that all the family members, when they get together, that they really talk about this ahead of time and really have the patience and the understanding, and don't set up the expectations that your 90-year-old father is 55 years old and can do what he did when you were a child. There's got to be some semblance of reality, and I know that's difficult, and we've all, I think everybody here has experienced that. So if I can get any message across, is to have the right expectations going into the meal, and not set up something for failure for mom and dad in their 90s or 80s. So, Lori, I'll let you finish with the traditions.
Sabre Springs does very similar to what Cardiff does. We have the 11 to 2 open. It's a buffet, very lovely buffet at the holidays, and it's where we invite the families. And you know, our families become our family, we become theirs, and it's a really lovely time. And again, as Sadie said, you know, and there are some residents that will want to go ahead and go through the buffet line themselves. However, you know, we are there for those that aren't able or choose not to serve them. And then it's just a wonderful time again to celebrate the holidays and to be with each other.
Well, is there anything that we missed in terms of what you see that you could want to get one last
My last
pearls of wisdom?
Pearls of wisdom from Belmont Village. I think when we serve our seniors, it's important to communicate with the family in advance, just like you mentioned. You want to ask all the right questions. I would suggest that you never take anything for granted with your seniors. So all of your guests deserve special attention, but our seniors in particular, what we need to do is communicate in advance, ask the families the tough questions, and then be willing to compromise if we need to compromise.
Yeah, agreed. And just, you know, again, you know, treating people with dignity and respect, and we want to keep that in mind. Just, there very well may be cognitive declines or physical declines, and I think as long as we've done our homework ahead of time and remember that we do not want to treat someone as if they're a child. They're not. So that would be my kind of words of wisdom or advice. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to throw this out for you. If you are listening to this, oh, not listening, if you're watching the show and you're concerned about your mom and dad and they are visiting out here in Sabre Springs and Poway area or Rancho Bernardo, or they're in the coast, they could come by.
Absolutely.
In that morning, bring mom and dad by.
Absolutely.
And on Thanksgiving Day.
Yes.
And just kind of check it out. Maybe call you in advance.
Yeah.
But check it out. It would be a great opportunity to let them see how wonderful and how well treated they will be at Belmont Village. So, Lori, thank you so much for coming on today. Sadie, thank you so much, and have a wonderful holiday, wonderful Thanksgiving to everybody at both Belmont Villages. And we will be right back with more Senior Stay or Go TV.
When you belong to a community, it makes you feel safe. It inspires you to thrive. It honors your achievements, and it makes you feel at home. For nearly 20 years, Belmont Village Senior Living has created communities that have enriched the lives of seniors and their families, providing places where seniors lead healthy, purposeful lives under the care of staff who truly understand their needs. Belmont Village offers assisted living, independent living, and memory care in a continuum that supports residents when care needs change and providing for couples of varying care needs.
It's nice that we can be together. She needs a little bit more care than I do, and I don't have to do any cooking or shopping.
Aging is a gift. We invite you to embrace it with us and be a part of our community and our family. Belmont Village Senior Living, the community built for life.